Writing. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about one of the most challenging and satisfying aspects of your college experience, writing. Like reading, I know a lot of students instantly react to writing of any kind negatively. It's the last thing many want to do, and apart from public speaking, one of the hardest things they'll have to do. I personally love writing because of the challenge it presents me and the opportunities it provides me for growth. Writing is one of the most effective ways to figure out what you think on a topic. I've discovered many personal opinions through the act of putting pen to paper. We can learn better through writing. You really know if you know a thing when you can effectively write about it. Finally, there's a therapeutic aspect to writing. As you make your thoughts and feelings visible, you're able to put a little distance between you and what's going on in your head and your heart. This distance allows you to be a little more thoughtful and reflective, and there's always value in that. I want to talk specifically about not using your phone, using paper, and making the most of your feedback. Because it is an online class, and because many of you see life through your phone, your natural tendency is to experience class through your phone as well. I think there are great things about this. I love the idea of bite-sized learning and making the most of downtime by reading a short article or watching a short video. But college writing is a different creature. It generally requires broader perspective than you can squeeze into a 3x5 window. Even a plus-sized window isn't enough. Pinching and zooming works well for a photo, but not so much for texts and extended essays. Please don't use your phones for extended writing assignments. Don't discount the tactile feedback of writing with paper and pen. One of the problems that I have with most word processors is how good they make everything look as soon as you type it down. I think they have a way of tricking our brain into thinking that whatever we've written down is more polished and complete than it really is because everything is so neatly lined up. We don't challenge our rough drafts enough when they look this good. A written draft on paper, on the other hand, always looks like it can be improved, especially if your handwriting is as bad as mine. We're less afraid of crossing out whole sections or squeezing notes and questions into the margin. Sure, it takes more time to draft things by hand, but that added time allows our brain to percolate on ideas. It gives us room for serendipity and inspiration. It makes the final product better. Even if you don't take to writing a complete first draft on paper, use paper to outline, make notes, or even revise what you've written by printing it out and copying and attacking it with pen and ink. When I'm pressed for time, I'll often put a draft down on the computer first, but I rarely submit something without printing out a copy and going through it with one of my trusty Pilot G2s. If you don't have a favorite kind of pen, you're probably not writing enough by hand. The other thing to realize is that even though writing is often seen as a solitary activity, it doesn't have to be. The first draft is on you. It should contain your ideas and your experiences and your examples. But so much of writing is about revising and organizing those early thoughts into a cohesive whole. To do this, don't neglect the value of another set of eyes. For me, my wife is often my best source of feedback. I run early ideas and drafts by her to make sure that what I'm writing makes sense. She's also really helpful in the final polishing stage because no matter how many times I go through a piece of writing, I always miss a comma here or a formatting error. I've got 6 years of college and university study specifically in English, and I still make some of the most obvious errors. It takes a certain level of humility to be willing to show my writing to another person, especially when I'm writing about something sensitive or personal, but it's only through that willingness to be a little vulnerable that we are willing to grow. We don't show our writing to others so that it can be praised. We show our writing to others so that we can get better, and that means it's going to sting a little. Growth always stings a little. We have a great writing lab on campus, and for those who can't make it to campus, we subscribe to a service called Smart Thinking, which allows you to send off an essay to be reviewed by an expert tutor. You may not need these services for every assignment, but it never hurts to get that additional perspective. Finally, I want to talk to you a little bit about the instructor feedback you receive on a piece of writing after it's been graded and returned to you. In education, we use 2 terms to talk about assessments or evaluations: formative and summative. Summative evaluations are used to make a judgment on performance or learning. Your ACT or SAT tests were essentially summative evaluations. You are measured and ranked by the test, and you either meet certain criteria or thresholds or you don't. You don't get any feedback on any of your answers. Your mistakes aren't framed as growth opportunities. When it's done, it's done. Formative assessments, on the other hand, are designed to encourage you to reflect and grow in your learning process. Tests, quizzes, and assignments are used to supplement your learning. They are part of the journey rather than the end point. Writing is a formative process. Every time you get feedback, even if the assignment is complete and can't be revised for a better grade, is an opportunity to learn and grow and be better the next time. Take time to look beyond the letter grade you've been given and see what specific comments your instructor has provided and how you might incorporate that feedback into a future assignment either in that class or another. The best writers understand that there is always room for improvement and that you can always get better as a writer. As the years go by, I find that in many ways my writing is slowing down. My skills have never been sharper. My vocabulary continues to expand. I continue to read new things, and I continually get opportunities to write for new audiences. You'd think I'd get faster with all this experience, but with that experience comes higher expectations for myself. I have a better sense of what's possible, and I work harder to achieve it. What was good enough for my younger self just doesn't make the cut for me anymore. Improving college writing is a process that goes well beyond your freshman composition class or your technical writing class. Every essay, every research paper, every discussion post is an opportunity to get a little better and to communicate a little more clearly.